What up, Bulldog Nation? What up, Facebook? What up, YouTube? We have made it to the first video of the season. Been looking forward to this all summer long. Just wanted to hop on here real quick a couple weeks before opening day and drop a season prediction, regular season prediction for the Georgia Bulldogs. I'm really looking forward to this season, man. I would say the overall word for me going into the season is hopeful. Hopeful that we see better play on the field and that these games are a little bit more exciting from Georgia than they were last year. So we've got a lot of unproven players, a lot of unknowns, but I think they've recruited well. They've got a good coaching staff in place, so I think they can rise to the occasion. But the main question that I have going into the season is, can Georgia go 10-2 again? I think if Georgia goes 10-2 again, that the season's a major success. And they can really do something after that if they're playing well, if they avoid the injuries, if they're playing well late in the season and they're clicking. I think this Georgia team can do great things. But let's go ahead and get into the season prediction video. I'm going to try and make this one short and sweet for you guys. So on August 30th, we're at home against Marshall, opening day. I'm going to that game with some friends. Really looking forward to it. I love opening day, mainly just because it's the first game. Everybody's back in the stadium together. It's normally a very festive, happy vibe. And whether it's a big game or a team like Marshall, like everybody's always really excited and in a good mood to get the season back started. So I'm really looking forward to August 30th. Georgia's going to get a win on opening day. Hopefully they look good doing it. All right. September 6th, we got Austin Peay at home. That's a win. I don't even know why we still schedule games like this. There's no benefit for the fans, for the team, for viewership, nothing. Like, Georgia just needs to do away with these games. The Austin Peays and the Charlottes, there's no point in playing those games. So we just need to stop doing that. Whether we will or not, I don't know. Not anytime soon, I don't think. All right, first challenge of the season. We go on the road at Tennessee on September 13th. Now, this game was a lot more concerning to me when Nico was Tennessee's quarterback. With Nico going to Cal or UCLA or wherever it is that he went, this game gets a lot easier for Georgia. Now, I'm not saying that we're walking into an ideal situation. This will be Gunnar Stockton and a lot of these young players' first start on the road in a hostile environment in the SEC. Tennessee can be one of the hardest places to play if the crowd gets into the game. So I like Georgia in this game. I think Georgia's going to get the win. I just don't think it's a good recipe for whoever Tennessee's quarterback is going to be to make their first SEC start against Kirby Smart's defense. I think that's going to be a big challenge for Tennessee. I think that Kirby Smart has got the Josh Heupel offense figured out. Heupel's offense has never scored more than 14 points, more than 2 touchdowns, I should say, against Kirby Smart's defense. They put up 17 points before, but they've never scored more than 2 touchdowns against Kirby Smart since Heupel's been there. So Kirby is owning this rivalry right now. I've got to say, I'm really pleased with how we've been dominant over Tennessee the past few years. And I think that continues. However, Tennessee is one of those places like where we got to go up there. We've got to play our best. We can't go up there and turn the ball over, have a bunch of false starts, and really get the crowd into the game. If the crowd gets into the game and things start going wrong for Georgia and Georgia turns the ball over or starts making mental errors, this can get away from you in a hurry up there in Knoxville. So I think that Georgia's going to be fine. Something to keep an eye on, though. First road game of the season, Gunnar Stockton's first road start. You know the Tennessee fans are going to make it difficult. So I like Georgia to get a win there, but it is going to be a challenge, and that's one to keep an eye on. All right, we get a bye week, and then September 27th, we are at home against Alabama, another game that I'm going to. Can't wait for this game. If you've ever watched this channel or you've ever watched my Facebook Lives, you know how I feel about this game. This is the most important game on the schedule, again, this season to me and to a lot of other Georgia fans. It was the most important game on the schedule last season when Georgia went to Alabama and played. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, you've got to win this game if you're Georgia. This losing against Alabama has got to stop. I'm not one of those people that expect you to beat Alabama every single time, but you've got to beat them some of the time. We have lost 8 out of the last 9 to Alabama. Kirby Smart's 1-7 against Alabama. If we drop this game at home to Alabama, they will have won 9 out of the last 10 against us. And that to me is just unacceptable. You cannot claim to be the best program in college football if you can't beat, in recent history, the best program in college football. That's just, you've got to win some of these games. 1-7 is not good enough. One out of the last 10 is just not good enough for Georgia. Like, Georgia has got to win this game. This is a must win. And that being said, I mean, until I see Georgia beat Alabama, I cannot pick them, and I will not pick them to beat Alabama. I picked Georgia to lose this game last year when we went on the road. We lost. Until I see us do it, I don't believe it's going to happen. Just too many factors going into this. The bye week before the game, I would have rather just went ahead and played the game right after Tennessee. That way you don't have too long to think about it. I don't like the bye against Alabama. That's just too long to me for Georgia's players to think about it. And then the home win streak. I can already see the headlines all on ESPN in some thrilling game where Bama does something magnificent or Georgia makes an error towards the end of the game, late in the game, to give up a touchdown for Alabama to win. I can see ESPN just foaming at the mouth to say that Alabama comes into Sanford Stadium and ends Georgia's home win streak that goes all the way back to 2019. Just too many things line up for it, and I don't like the matchup. I do think Alabama's going to be really good this season, but Georgia's been really good a lot of seasons, and we've lost to them way too many times. So, most important game on the schedule. I hope that we win it. I'll be there. I paid a lot of money to go there, but until I see Georgia beat Alabama on the field, I'm picking Bama. All right, next, we got on October 4th, we're home against Kentucky. Give me a win for Georgia there. Historically, Kentucky's a tough game for us. It's a lot tougher when we go to Kentucky. I'm hoping this is one of those Georgia-Kentucky games where Georgia gets them at home and just beats the brakes off them inside Sanford Stadium. A 42-10, 42-6 type game. Let the backups get in there and put some work into. I'm hoping Georgia handles business against Kentucky. All right, I got Georgia winning that game. All right, so October 11th, we go on the road to Auburn. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and say this. I had Georgia going 10-2 before I ever made this video. For months, I've been thinking about our schedule, and I've had us going 10-2 the whole time. I was up in the air of whether I thought Georgia was going to lose to Auburn or whether I thought Georgia was going to lose to Florida, because Florida really had us on the ropes last season, and had Lagway not gotten hurt, I think Georgia would have lost that game to Florida last season. But given what I've read in the news about Lagway not being able to stay healthy and being in a boot as little as 2 weeks ago this offseason, like, man, if that guy can't stay healthy, Florida's whole season is riding on Lagway's health. And he hasn't been healthy since he's started some games for Florida. And I think that's really problematic. Like, you've got to have a healthy starting quarterback that's played some games ahead of this Georgia game to have a chance to beat Georgia. So going back to the Auburn game, again, it's one of those matchup where everything kind of lines up in Auburn's favor. So it's at Auburn. We know crazy things happen there when Georgia goes on the road to Auburn, or when Alabama goes on the road to Auburn. Anybody going on the road to Auburn, for that matter. It's just a really hard place to play, and strange things do happen there. Auburn's got a bye the week before. So while Georgia is playing Kentucky at home, Auburn's going to be game planning, watching that game, getting ready for Georgia. Another thing, Hugh Freeze has to have this game. Like, he has to have a signature win in order to keep his job at Auburn. Like, if he goes 7-5 in the regular season, he's got to have a signature win over Georgia or Alabama, something that really makes him look good to justify him keeping his job. So Auburn's got to have this game. I have no doubt it'll probably be a 3:30 or a night kickoff. I just think Auburn has to have it against Georgia. And you're not going to beat your rivals every single year. Like, Georgia has dominated Tennessee, dominated Auburn, dominated Florida, dominated Georgia Tech in the Kirby Smart era. And just, like, good things don't last forever. Like, you can't expect to beat your main rivals every single year. I think Georgia's caught in a break not having to play South Carolina the past 2 seasons. No telling how that would have turned out. South Carolina's really improved. So, just too many things lined up to where I think the Auburn game, them having a bye to get ready for us, and them having to have that game, and it being at Auburn, I think they've got a really good chance to get us. Like, if they're going to get us, they're going to get us this year. And I just feel like Georgia's not just going to lose to Alabama. Like, I feel like we're going to lose to Bama and somebody else. So I had to pick one more game. I think Georgia's a better team, a better program. I think we've got better coaches than Auburn. it's just hard to go undefeated, or to even just to go 11-1 anymore. Like, I had to pick Georgia to lose another game, and the Auburn game is the one that I decided they're most likely to lose, given that Auburn's got a bye, and then it's at Jordan-Hare Stadium. Okay, following week, we get Ole Miss at home. I hope this is real similar to the Ole Miss game in 2023 when Ole Miss came into Sanford Stadium and Georgia just beat the brakes off of them from the word go, dominated that entire game. A lot of big hits, a lot of turnovers, a lot of good touchdowns from offensively from Georgia, a lot of good, solid defense, hard-hitting football game. Georgia just beat the absolute crap out of Ole Miss last time they came into Sanford Stadium. And I think Ole Miss has got a good team. I think they've got a good program. You know, Lane Kiffin's kind of got that thing rolling a little bit to where Ole Miss is a threat right now. But I don't think Georgia's going to go on the road and lose a tough one to Auburn, come back home with 2 losses already in the middle of October. I don't think the Sanford Stadium crowd, and I think Georgia will be so desperate at home on October 18th, Georgia's got to have that game. Like, you've already got 2 losses. You're not even through October yet. You still got Florida and Texas and Georgia Tech looming. You cannot lose to Ole Miss right here. So I think Georgia's going to handle business. I hope they give Ole Miss a sound beating. And I really like Georgia's home crowd to come alive and help us get this game in dominant fashion, okay? Then November 1st, we go to Jacksonville. I mean, for a neutral site game, I wish we would quit doing that. I don't like the Jacksonville spot. I never have liked it. I don't like that it's in Florida every single year. And both schools lose a home recruiting weekend every other year. Every other year. Georgia loses one, and then next year Florida loses one. And that just doesn't make sense to me from the standpoint of either school. Like, why would you not want to have the revenue for the town, for the city that your school is in, for the university, selling all that merchandise, filling up your stadium a whole nother time? Like, it makes no sense to me why this game is in Jacksonville. And I wish that it wasn't. I want this game out of Jacksonville so bad. I want it to go to a home and home. I don't like neutral site games. I never have. It's stupid. College games should be played on college campuses. I want to play Florida at home. I want to have the challenge of going to the Swamp and playing in front of their fans. It's just, I hate it. I hate neutral site games. That being said, we kind of already talked about with the Auburn game how I felt about this Florida game. I think Florida's gotten better. I think Florida is a threat. You can't beat Florida every single season. Like, you're eventually going to lose to them. We've dominated them recently. If Lagway is healthy all season long and comes into this game healthy, I think Florida's got a lot better chance to win this game. They played us really close last year. Lagway got hurt. He went out. Georgia took over the game. Never really relinquished control. Ended up going on to win the game. But it was ugly. I really hope it's not like that this time. I got Georgia getting the win. Again, a lot of that depends on Lagway's health. But this is a preseason prediction video, game by game. I can't see into the future. I've already got us losing to Auburn. I don't think we're going to lose to both Auburn and Florida. No way. So give me the win down in Jacksonville. Georgia's going to get the win there. All right, Mississippi State on the road at Mississippi State. We're not even going to spend too much time on that one. Mississippi State's awful. They've really went downhill since Mike Leach passed away. I got Georgia going on the road, beating Mississippi State on the road, one of the worst teams in the SEC. All right, November 15th, we play at home against Texas. This game is really a lot bigger threat to me if Texas is undefeated or has one loss coming into this game. And it's a lot more threatening of a game because it's late in the season. Like, if Arch Manning was coming into Sanford Stadium at the beginning of the season, I would feel a lot better about Georgia's chances. Texas has got the challenge of playing on the road at Ohio State early. The Ohio State crowd's going to be fired up and ready to go for that. So he's going to have some experience playing in front of big, loud home crowds. So this Texas game is going to be a challenge. Again, like I've said with a lot of these other games, we're not going to beat Texas every single time. Texas has got a good program. Texas has got a good team, good coaches, a lot of talented players. They're plucking a lot of our talented players out of the state of Georgia, swooping in at the last second, paying our recruits millions of dollars at the last second and getting them out of Georgia to go to Texas. Guys that we've been on since the 8th grade. I can't really stand that. I can't stand Texas fans. Listen, I don't have a problem with the players, them getting our recruits, Sark, their coaches, nothing. But the Texas fans, the Oklahoma fans tried to warn us. They're the most unbearable fans in the SEC. Big mistake letting Texas and Oklahoma into the SEC. But Texas fans are absolutely unbearable. That's the only reason I don't like Texas. The only reason is their fans. I got no problem with the team. Really challenging game for Georgia. This game could go either way. Honestly, it could. If Texas comes in there and plays a good game, I think Arch Manning and the offense and Sark are going to have a good game plan. They're going to know how to score against this Georgia team. And again, they can take the crowd out of it. Like if Texas comes in and puts up 2 touchdowns and a field goal in the first quarter, like Georgia's crowd's got to hang in there, and we got to get it done. So Georgia's at home, already having 2 losses. I don't think we're going to lose 2 games at home. Like we've got the nation's longest home win streak. We haven't lost at home since 2019. The Sanford Stadium crowd is really improved from what it used to be in the past. This is the best slate of home games Georgia has ever had, ever, that I can remember. I mean, we've got so many good home games. So again, I'm counting on the Sanford Stadium home crowd to get Georgia in a win in the middle of November against a really good Texas team. So I got Georgia beating Texas in the middle of November. Then we got home against Charlotte the following week, November 22nd. Give me a win there. We're not even going to talk about that game. Wish that we wouldn't play these games. Been through that already. All right. November 28th, we played Georgia Tech. I cannot believe for the life of me that Georgia Tech sold the rights to their game out of Bobby Dodd and to Mercedes-Benz. I understand they're getting paid money for doing so, but you just guaranteed, I mean, really, whether it was played at Bobby Dodd or at Mercedes-Benz, it was going to be a Georgia home game. The Georgia fans are going to buy up all the tickets on the secondary market, and they're going to show up and take over the game. There's just not enough Georgia Tech fans to counter how many millions of Georgia fans there are, especially right here in Metro Atlanta. So, Georgia Tech moving the game to Mercedes-Benz, in my opinion, was a big mistake. And I also think, I think Georgia Tech's improved. I think they're heading in the right direction. I think if Georgia doesn't play well, that Georgia Tech is capable of beating Georgia now. But I think Georgia Tech's chance to beat us was in Sanford Stadium last year when that game went to 7 overtimes. I mean, I just don't think that Georgia is going to overlook Georgia Tech this season. And with the ability to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in front of pretty much a home crowd, I really like Georgia in that one. I mean, I like them no matter what against Georgia Tech. But moving it to Mercedes-Benz, that makes me like Georgia even more. Georgia fans are going to take over that game, take over Mercedes-Benz, and it's going to be a party-like atmosphere for a Georgia home game. And I expect Georgia to handle business and beat down Georgia Tech. I don't think it'll be close this year. I think Georgia beats them down, and hopefully that brings us to a 10-2 regular season record. If Georgia goes 10-2, the season is a major, major success, in my opinion. We've got one of the hardest schedules in the country. Again, a lot of really challenging opponents, a lot of rivalry games that we have been dominating in for years and years and years. It kind of seems like it's time for one of these rivals to step up and get Georgia. Just a lot of factors going into a very challenging season. We've got so many unproven positions on the edge, on the offensive line, at running back, new guys at wide receiver, Gunnar Stockton, first-year starter at quarterback. We got to fill in one of those safety spots. Like, a very interesting dynamic. I think that Georgia can have a great season, and I think that we will have a great season. I mean, I'm really dependent on the O-line to come together, for the running game to be better, for the running backs to be healthy this season. Credit to the coaching staff. My biggest complaint last season, the wide receivers, like, we made it a point, like, it seemed like our number one priority to go out and get tall, big talent at the wide receiver position that can play that outside wide receiver position and make big plays on third down. Defense, I think that we have the most talented inside linebacker room anywhere in the country by far. The outside linebacker position, though, like, we've got talented guys, but they're coming in and replacing really, really good players that went on to the NFL, all 3 of them. And then we had Damon Wilson transferred to Missouri, which I won't understand, but, I mean, he's gone now, so goodbye. But we got to replace those 4 guys that played that edge position, so that's an unproven spot. The safety spot is an unproven spot. Thank God we got K.J. Bolden, who I think is going to be one of the best sophomores in all of America this season. I think KJ is going to be a star for Georgia. So I'm really hopeful about the season. I think the Dogs can do it. I think we can go 10-2. I think if things go right and a lot of these new pieces step up and play big-time football, I think we can go 11-1, possibly undefeated. We just got to wait and see. But if we don't come out of this September at least 3-1, like if we're 2-2 coming out of September, man, we will be in big trouble for this season. Like, you just cannot lose 2 games before you're even out of the first month of the season. Like, Georgia's got to get it done on the road at Tennessee. If you lose to Tennessee and you lose to Alabama, the season can get really ugly. And reverse that, and if you say Georgia comes out of September 4-0, man, if we come out 4-0 against Marshall, Austin Peay, Tennessee, and Alabama, and we finally beat Alabama at home, nobody will be happier on the face of the planet than me. And things really line up well for Georgia to make a run at the playoffs and the SEC championship. Because if you come out of there 4-0, you can drop 1 game, and you're still going to the SEC championship. So we all need to be hoping and praying for that. I think it's going to be an exciting season for the Dogs. Can't wait to watch it. So glad I got to get on here and make a season prediction video and talk to you guys some. We're going to be cranking them out, every week from here on out. This may be the last or second to last video in this studio, though, until I move. So looking forward to that. Like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know how I did. Y'all have a good Sunday, and go Dogs.